Performing is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Tiger Woods heading home before the weekend for the 6th time in his last 7 golf majors. Shot a 77 today in the second round of the British Open. 14 over. That is well below the projected cut line. The lead at Royal Troon belongs to Shane Lowry at 7 under. Daniel Brown, Justin Rose are 2 off the lead. Scotty Scheffler's 5 back. Bears kicked off training camp today. Coach Matt Eberflus told reporters his message for the team, lead from the front. Also said they're still figuring out how to manage playing time this preseason for rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. One of the keys for offensive coordinator Shane Waldron when it comes to Williams, keeping him calm, advises Freddie and Harry co-host Harry Douglas.
It's his job to make sure that the offense is balanced and they don't just come out in week 1 and throw the ball 40, 50 times like we've seen Caleb Williams do in college. It's important that this offense is balanced. You still allow him to be Caleb Williams, but he has to play within that structure. And when things break down, hey, Caleb, go do you.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy signing a 4-year fully guaranteed contract, $21.8 million.
Hey, it's Courtney Cronin. Coming up Monday, Canty and Michelle are back, and you know they'll be all over training camps. And, of course, MLB being back as well. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
We go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Glad to be back in studio. SEC Media Days was a rocking success. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and made us part of your day. We got a ton to do. A couple of really big commitments coming on Saturday. We'll preview that. Ryan Terrio is here next hour as well. We had a ton to do. The SEC projected order of finish is out. We'll get to all of it, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, something we've anticipated for some time now is an update on Ryan Ramczyk, Saints offensive lineman. And we got that update. Oh, boy. Earlier today, Ian Rappaport on the NFL Network with the honors. Here was the update.
Yeah, it certainly could be the end of the line for Ryan Ramczyk. Really one of the cooler success stories. Emerged as a big-time offensive tackle for the New Orleans Saints. Signed a massive contract, nearly $100 million. He's going to end up collecting a lot of that. But his career, for sure, could be over now. He is out for the season. He's dealing with a knee issue, and he, of course, has had some injury concerns over the years, but dealing with the knee issue now. They thought it was going to get better, thought it was going to turn the corner. It just did not improve like the Saints and, of course, like Ramczyk had hoped. And by virtue of him being placed on the reserve PUP list rather than the active PUP list before the roster cutdown date, he is now out.
So out for the entire season is Ryan Ramczyk. Again, not altogether horribly unexpected. It's the news we've waited on, but now it's formal. The Saints open up training camp on Wednesday out in California, and they will be without Ryan Ramczyk for the entire season. Again, being on the reserve PUP list as a vested veteran means before camp begins means he's done for the year. So Ryan Ramczyk won't play this year. We'll talk here in a smidge about what the options are for the Saints here in 2024. So we'll get to all that. First of all, I want to draw your attention to this. Back in April, Nick Underhill, who does a great job over at New Orleans Football, was a guest on Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. And again, this was April. I mean, this was 3 months ago. This was around the time of the NFL draft, before the draft. Nick Underhill said this before the draft.
I just don't see him playing again. I just, like, if I had to bet today, you're asking me to go to draft to place a bet on it. Like, I'm betting on him not playing.
He went into a lot of different reasons for the explanation. And again, he wasn't reporting news there or anything, but one of the things I think we all understand is that Nick is as connected. He's saying it rooted in some level of information about the situation. And I don't think he would be callous or careless with an opinion like that. Sure as did many of you. And so we kind of followed Dennis Allen, and the most up-to-date information that we had from Dennis Allen when he was asked during OTAs just last month. He was asked during OTAs for an update on Ryan Ramczyk.
Back home, resting, doing his rehab plan there. We got a plan for him. Certainly, we don't have to make any decisions now, but I haven't seen the progress that I was hoping to see. And so, we just got him at home doing his rehab there.
So not seeing the progress that he wanted to see, that was a month ago, and that kind of should have told you. So, look, when the time's right, we'll have the conversation about Ryan Ramczyk's career and all that it has entailed and all that it has been. And it has been a fantastic NFL career. It's been an all-pro NFL career. And the Saints signed Ryan Ramczyk to a 5-year, $96 million contract, one of which he was worthy because he was an all-pro and arguably the best offensive tackle, best right tackle in the game at the time they gave him that deal. He's just a big man whose body, his knees have failed him here of late. So as the Saints move on now, we know that Trevor Penning and Taliese Fuanga are a massive part of what they're going to do as they move forward. Penning was a first-round pick a couple of years ago. Injury effectively cost him his rookie year. And then last year, when he was the starter at left tackle to open the season, we all know how it went. He just wasn't able, and then ultimately became just sort of a tackle-eligible, an extra blocker. Now you draft Taliese Fuanga. There's a ton of optimism around him as a young player. We had his college offensive line coach here on the show after the draft who said, look, he could have been a left tackle for us, meaning at Oregon State, but they had their veteran left tackle already. And if anything had gone wrong, they would have flipped him over to left tackle. But he certainly felt he was able to play that position. And we saw in OTAs that the Saints ran Penning at right tackle, and in minicamp, Penning at right tackle, and Fuanga at left tackle. So best case scenario, that's how it all plays out. Those two guys are awesome. They lock down those jobs, and they just continue to grow into those roles, and they become really, really good. If you're wondering about who else might be there, they have some options, but I don't know that any of them are really great options. The Saints signed Oli Udoh in this offseason. He's a young veteran. He played for the Minnesota Vikings. He's played in 43 career games. He started 18 times, but only 9 of those 43 career games have been at tackle. He's played a lot more at guard during his career than he has at tackle, but he has played tackle. You went and added Justin Herron. Justin Herron was a guy that played both in New England with the Patriots and in Las Vegas with Derek Carr. One of those guys that we've talked about, another in the long list of former Derek Carr teammates that the Saints have, from the Raiders that the Saints have brought in. Well, Herron's a guy that's played in 35 career games with 11 starts. Again, a young veteran who hasn't been a full-time starter but has started at tackle in the NFL. And then there's Landon Young. Landon Young was the offensive tackle the Saints used a day 3 pick on out of Kentucky. And in his time in New Orleans, he's played in 39 games with 7 starts. He's mostly been an extra, a tackle eligible, a special teamer, but he did start last year when Ryan Ramczyk was injured. So Landon Young is another guy that you could look at that potentially could try to go win a spot at one of the tackles here in camp if one of the young guys, Penning or Fuanga, don't emerge. You know, there's a couple of other veteran offensive linemen that the Saints brought in here in this offseason in Lucas Patrick, who's played a ton of football. Lucas Patrick's had 96 career games played with 54 starts, but they've all been at guard and center. And then Shane Lemieux is another guy that's a young veteran, 18 games played, 12 starts, but all of that, again, on the interior at guard. So when you're looking at the guys on your roster right now who are options at tackle, it's Trevor Penning, Taliese Fuanga, Justin Herron, Landon Young, Oli Udoh. Those 5 are your realistic options right now. You could always go work a trade in camp if it comes down to that. You could wait for roster cuts to see if somebody falls through the cracks who might be able to give you some depth. Of course, last year the Saints added Cameron Irving, who was a guy that had played with Derek Carr, was from Florida State. Was on that Florida State national championship team with Jameis. So, sometimes those guys linger out there, some veterans. I mean, it was the same thing when you added James Hurst a few years back, and he became a very versatile piece for you. It's not an ideal situation. The ideal situation is that Ryan Ramczyk were healthy. Well, we know now he's out for the year. So now the best case scenario is Fuanga and Penning end up winning their jobs at their respective tackle spots. I mean, you invested first-round picks in those guys, and so you want them to be starters for you, immediate starters. We'll get a much better sense of that as training camp starts to move along. So the Saints open up camp out in California on Wednesday, and so they'll go from July 24th through August the 16th, 3 weeks out in California before they return home for the final week of camp leading up to the start of the NFL season, a season that will start and for the entirety be without All-Pro offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk, who is done for the season. All right, it's After Further Review. Our show open is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Y'all check them out, of course, anywhere you're going to be this weekend. If you're going to be out by the pool, throwing something on the grill, if you're heading to the beach, the lake, whatever you might be doing, make sure you have plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of AFR. Love telling you about our friends over at Mockler Beverage, great community partners as they've been for 4 decades now. Baton Rouge, Houma, Southwest Louisiana. Drink plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. We will, at the bottom of this hour, get into a little conversation about recapping SEC Media Days. Today, the All-SEC, preseason All-SEC and projected order of finish are out. We'll get into that. I have some reaction. We'll do that at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, a massive recruiting win for LSU this week and a couple of big targets announced tomorrow. We'll catch up on all of it when we return on AFR.
AFR.
Weekend is here. It's about the time a lot of people go house hunting. If that's you, if you're thinking of buying or selling, you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com, agent225.com. Remember, Darren James on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America, number 14 on the list this year. Only 13 realtors in the entire United States of America sold more homes than Darren James did a year ago. So if you need to sell your home, you need the best. Matter of fact, check this out. Just saw this on Darren's social media. Open house coming up on Huey Andrew Avenue in Gonzales on Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Always encourage you to check out Darren's social media. He does a great job promoting his homes, his listings, and giving you great information as well. And if you haven't done it yet, download the Darren James app in your app store. Just search Darren James in your app store. It's Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Before we came on air, Paulie and Muse and I were all outside and we were talking about it. Can we get a date? When was the last time the three of us were all here together? Do you have your calendar out, Muse?
I do. Let me.
So I was at Media Days last week. The week before that, Paulie was on vacation, right?
Yep.
The week before that, the week of the 4th of July, I was out. And the week before that is when you were out?
Yeah, the last time we did a show together in studio, the three of us, was June 21st.
Oh, man. Like, it's been almost a month.
Yeah, that's 3 weeks.
I mean, obviously, we've done shows this week, but I was in Dallas. But the last time we were all the three of us here in studio together, June 21.
June 21.
How about that? It's good to see you, Paulie. Welcome back. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, Paul left for like 2 weeks by himself.
Yeah, good to see you, Paul. Paulie, do you know who Pete Sampras is?
Oh, dear Lord.
I do, yes.
Oh, really? You've heard of Pete Sampras?
The tennis player, yeah.
Oh, did you hear what happened while you were gone?
Vaguely. I didn't hear like the whole story,
Yeah.
but yeah, something about a trivia question. And
Yeah, Plucker's Trivia. Who won Wimbledon 6 times in the 90s? Musso got it wrong. I remember who he guessed. Oh, he said John McEnroe is who he said, by the way.
Famous tennis player.
Yeah, famous tennis player from like 20 years before that. But I said, no, it was Pete Sampras. And his incredulous response was, who?
I don't think I said it like that.
You did. Go pull it up in Sterlitz. It's like he didn't even know the name Pete Sampras, which floored me.
Yeah, he should have at least known the name.
Like, if you work at a sports station, it feels like you should know the name Pete Sampras.
Yeah, you would think so.
Even if you didn't get the trivia question right, that's fine. But, like, I don't know how that just falls into a black hole in your sports brain that you don't know Pete Sampras.
Yeah, that's a little surprising.
Fireable, you think?
Almost.
Yeah, maybe. We'll take it under consideration. Okay. All right, it's good to have you back, Paulie. Muse, what?
Great to see you too, Matt.
I know, Muse. Good to see you. Okay. You know it was great to see. Earlier this week, while we were at SEC Football Media Days, Brian Kelly, Blake Baker, Corey Raymond, and the LSU Tigers got themselves some magnificent news when five-star cornerback, the number one cornerback in America, DJ Pickett, made his college announcement.
With that being said, for the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be taking my talents to the University of Louisiana State University. Yeah, wow. LSU.
So DJ Pickett picks LSU, and one of the things that he was asked about, I believe that was by Jamie Newberg on set, was why he picked LSU. Give a listen.
I mean, if you're a DB and Coach Raymond is at LSU, I feel like that's the right place to be at. So that's just, that tells you everything right there.
That tells you everything right there. I know there have been a lot of LSU fans since Corey Raymond came back that have questioned that decision. Now, you know good and well where I stand on it if you've listened to the show at all. You don't forget how to coach. You don't forget how to backpedal. You don't forget how to flip your hips and run and all that sort of stuff. Like ball skills, all that. You don't forget any of that. In the same way that Pete Jenkins at 82 is still an elite defensive line coach, technically so is Corey Raymond. And it's pretty clear he's a good relationship builder. Now, I shared this information on Locked on LSU, my podcast, which I would highly or greatly appreciate if you go listen to, subscribe, or watch on YouTube. And I'll share it to you here. I was told DJ Pickett, the NIL offer that he had from LSU was $750,000. Not as much as Oregon offered, but clearly what filled the gap are a couple of things. One, not having to fly across the country. He's from Florida. So for his family to see him, they'd have to fly to the Pacific Northwest to watch him play. Louisiana's a much quicker jaunt. And obviously the relationship with Corey Raymond. At one point during this process, DJ Pickett called his relationship with Corey Raymond unlike any other. His words, not mine. So I know there's a lot of you that questioned the Corey Raymond decision. Had he lost it? I'm going to say again what I said when they brought Corey Raymond back. LSU and the devolving of DBU wasn't because Corey Raymond was lazy or didn't recruit or forgot how to coach or anything of the sort. Let me remind you, in 2019, they signed Derek Stingley, Cardell Flott, Jay Ward, Radarius Jones, Mo Hampton, a lot of really good players. 2020, Ricks and McGlothern were part of that class. 2021, Sage Ryan was a 5-star. You had Demarius McGee. He didn't stop recruiting great defensive backs. Your head coach watched the program disintegrate, got fired. The new head coach didn't retain Corey Raymond, and all those guys left. And since then, you have not even come close to recruiting at the level you did when he was here. If, big if, but if Brian Kelly had retained Corey Raymond, do Elias Ricks and Dwight McGlothern stay? Maybe. And maybe you never go through this 3-year wandering wasteland you've been in the secondary. Look, in 2022, you hit in the transfer portal with Jark Bernard-Converse and Mekhi Gardner and Joe Brooks and Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché. You hit on those guys. And then they all left. And you didn't have enough good freshmen coming behind them. So you go back into the portal. And you miss on Denver Harris and Deuce Chestnut and J.K. Johnson was injured and Zy Alexander played well until he got injured. Like, you just haven't supplemented in the high school ranks because you were flying to recruit 3 stars from Las Vegas instead of going and getting guys like DJ Pickett. So, I don't know if anybody still got any more questions about Corey Raymond. Hopefully you don't. Because the only way LSU is going to get back to the level they were at so consistently in the secondary for a decade plus is getting players like DJ Pickett on campus. Players like Derek Stingley and Elias Ricks. Players like that who Corey Raymond had funneling through here every single year. And he's starting to do it again. I'll tell you again. In my opinion, the single biggest mistake Brian Kelly made when he got hired, and he made some, and he's worked very hard to correct them, not focusing enough on Louisiana and the recruiting base, letting Greg McMahon walk, the issues you've seen in special teams. But I think nothing has contributed more to the issues LSU's had defensively over the last couple of years than your issues in the secondary. And they all stem from not retaining Corey Raymond. By the way, did you notice Robert Steeples got a new job? Did you notice that? So Brian Kelly didn't retain Corey Raymond, hired Robert Steeples. Remember, Robert Steeples, who was a high school coach for 4 years, spent 1 year as a special teams assistant with the Minnesota Vikings, and his first collegiate job was the cornerbacks coaching job at LSU. That's who Brian Kelly hired, replaced Corey Raymond with. By the way, Robert Steeples hadn't been picked up by anybody yet. We learned over the weekend he's an offensive analyst now at Iowa State. If you look, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but if you look at a career arc and it says high school and 1 year NFL special teams assistant, LSU cornerbacks coach, Iowa State offensive analyst, what's the outlier? It was Brian Kelly's biggest mistake when he got hired, was not retaining Corey Raymond. And the more we go through this process and LSU keeps building this secondary class, the more evident that's going to become. Now, Jabari Antoine's going to make his announcement on Saturday, and a lot of people are anticipating that's going to be Miami. That's a kid from New Iberia, Westgate, who was an LSU commitment, who decommitted. There have been some thoughts it would be Oregon. A lot of people are thinking that at this point that it's going to be Miami. For Jabari Antoine, we'll see. He's the number 87 player nationally. He's the 9th best cornerback, the number 2 player in the state of Louisiana. Yes, you would love to get Jabari Antoine. And maybe on Saturday we find out that LSU pulls off another shocker and they get him in the class. We'll see how that goes. But even if it's not Antoine, you've got Jim Coyley out of Nashville. That's an LSU lean. Jonah Williams, who's the number 1 safety in America, that's trending toward LSU now as a 2-sport baseball and football guy. The point is, you are now in the mix for and have committed guys in the secondary that you have not had for the previous 2 years. And the very obvious tie that binds is Corey Raymond. So yes, everyone who poo-pooed bringing back Corey Raymond, it's a tough day for you. And you can sit here and say, well, I'm glad to be wrong. I'm sure you are. But it's a weak sauce mindset from the beginning. To be so overtly negative and to say, well, I hope I'm wrong. Well, of course you do. You protect yourself emotionally. But either way, get on board because you got the right guy. He was always the right guy. He remains the right guy. And he should be here for as long as he wants to be. So, DJ Pickett is an LSU Tiger. We'll find out about Jabari Antoine on Saturday. Derek Meadows, the 5-star wide receiver out of Las Vegas, at least 24/7 Sports has him as a 5-star, the number 32 player in the country. He's set to announce on Saturday as well, and it's going to be LSU or Notre Dame, and most industry experts think it's going to be LSU, but we'll find out on Saturday if it's a really, really good day for Brian Kelly in the 2025 class. Okay, it's after further review. Hey, y'all, raining like cats and dogs, or not like cats and dogs, it's raining cats and dogs today. It's a great reminder that even if it's not a named storm, even if it's not a hurricane, a tropical storm, inclement weather rolls through here, can knock out power. And if you want to be protected from that, you need a Generac automatic home standby generator. And our friends over at Optimize can make that happen for you. Generac, of course, it's a commodity. There's a lot of different companies that sell Generac automatic home standby generators. You buy the same product from a lot of different people. So why choose Optimize? Well, they're here. Of course, they're local. They got 4 physical locations spanning the entire 10-12 corridor. So from Lake Charles to Slidell, points in between, no matter where you are, they can service you. They're our state's number 1 Generac dealer. Nobody sells more Generac than Optimize because it's all they do. So they have inventory. They can get to you more quickly. They can help you get permitted with the city, the parish, the state, work with your electric company to get you permitted, get it installed. And they can always give you great rates as well. Upfront pricing, friendly staff. They do beautiful work. You got $600 for a down payment. They have a financing option to meet any budget. It's Optimized. Go to generatorpeople.com. Just remember those two words, Generator People. Generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com for Optimize. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Terrio's here in 30 minutes. Looking forward to having the right radio hours back. We will talk plenty of MLB draft recap. I got to get Terrio's thoughts on that. If you missed it earlier this week, Connor Williams, a lefty who had been committed to Texas A&M with Jim Schlossnagle leaving, obviously got out of his letter of intent. He's flipped now to LSU. We'll get Terrio's thoughts on that coming up in about 1 hour from right now. All right, quick break. When we come back, preseason media selections for the All-Conference and the projected order of finish in the SEC. That's all out. It's public. We'll get into that next. And Alabama honoring Nick Saban. If you haven't heard about that, I'm looking forward to talking about that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Weekends here, y'all. Make sure you get on by Rouse's. Hey, download the Rouse's app. Remember, they got the curbside pickup options. So download the Rouse's app. Hit the curbside to go button right there. Select all your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them up for you when you pull into one of the designated spots. Boom, they bring it right out to your car. So if you spend $35, that service is complimentary. So it's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. If you're making groceries this weekend, remember, you can always go check out all of the different offers that they have. And the 3-day sale is going on over at Rouse's this weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, amazing deals throughout the store. $5.77 a pound for Northwest-grown Rainier cherries. They've got great offers for water and Powerade and other sports drinks. You can check it all out at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, glad to have you rolling along with us here on this Friday edition of AFR. Big shout out to our friends over at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Excited to get over there. Kind of felt like football, starting to feel like football season with SEC Media Days in the rearview mirrors. Can't tell you how many times over the last 4 days I had different media members come up to me or T-Bob and say, hey, aren't you the guys that do this show at the cigar place? Yes, I guess that's what we've been boiled down to now. We are just the guys that do the show where we curse at the cigar place. And there was somebody, I need to follow up with T-Bob. There was somebody in Vegas who like has connections in Vegas that said, hey, wherever y'all want to do that show, we'll hook you up. Just tell us where you want to go. Like
anywhere.
That's what he said. Like, can we go to the suite from The Hangover?
Oh, I was going to say Whiskey and Wine live from the Sphere.
Yeah, I guess that would be cool.
That'd be pretty awesome. He said anywhere.
Can they put us on the Sphere? I don't need to be in the Sphere.
He said anywhere.
I want to be on the Sphere. You know what I mean? Like,
That'd be
make
awesome.
Whiskey and Wine, the video being shown on the Sphere all across all. Why not?
Yeah.
You want to talk about goals? Hashtag goals.
And he said anywhere.
He did say
That's
anywhere.
his words.
I'm going to follow up on that. So Alabama made a little announcement this morning.
Oh, did they?
Not sure if you saw this. On their little Twitter.com feed, they had this little video that played. Paul, you want to play? There it is. Yeah, there's audio to use. You don't have to glare me out there. It's more just like a little background. And so there's, it's like an aerial shot of Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. And then they have a video, sort of, I'm describing for our radio audience. They have a video, like, over the field. And it's this montage of Nick Saban, right? His introductory press conference, him winning championships and all that stuff. So you could see what's coming here, right? Again, aerial shot of Bryant-Dennehy, and then the video overlay on the playing surface is all this Nick Saban stuff. Saban, of course, announced after 17 seasons retiring as the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And so Alabama now is honoring the man who brought 3 Heisman winners and 6 national championships by naming the playing surface there at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium after Nick Saban. So heretofore, when LSU visits Tuscaloosa, it will now be known as Saban Field at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. I think it's pretty good. It's got a good ring to it. Yeah, we like it.
It's got a good ring to it. I'm glad they didn't include Nick. That would have been weird.
Well, yeah, you know what I hate to say it this way, but I don't love is whenever it's like they name it after like the husband and wife. Like, I get it. Like, you know, Miss Terry has been like this great ambassador. I'm not saying she's not a big deal and all that stuff, but it's like, yeah, they're a tandem. But I know like Lute Olson, the basketball court at Arizona, is named after him, but his wife Bobby died whenever he was coaching there, and so they named it, I believe, Lute and Bobby Olson Floor is what it's named after. Like, it didn't need to be Nick and Terry Saban.
No.
Nick and Miss Terry Field at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. It didn't need to be that. So
that just sounds so ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Nick and Miss Terry Stadium. Nick and Miss Terry Saban Stadium at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. No, I'm sorry. Nick,
Bryant-Dennehy
wait, hang on, I
Stadium.
messed it up. Nick and Miss Terry Field at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. It's just too wordy.
It's just too
it's
much.
a word
Yeah.
salad. There's way too much going on there.
Yeah. No, it does have a good ring to it. You know.
Saban Field at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. So congrats to Coach. I wonder if LSU's ever going to honor Nick Saban. I think you should have a statue. I think all the coaches should. I think it's a good way to do it. You win a national championship, you should. But can you imagine, like, statues? You'd have Paul Dietzel, Nick
Respectable.
Saban. Yeah, Nick Saban.
Respectable.
Les Miles, and Ed Ogeron.
Ooh.
That's problematic. less is problematic because of all the legalities. Again, that legal situations, continue to play on and play out. Ed Ogeron is, whatever. It's just Nick almost might be like, what? I mean, that's true.
The Heisman statue is much more respectable at LSU.
Yeah. I like the Billy Cannon one with him kind of running. That's really cool.
That's good.
Give me a Joey B one, little JD5. Let's go. I'm ready for it. I don't know, but it's almost like if LSU did honor Saban at some point, I think they should. It's like if Kentucky honored Bear Bryant. I mean, he won the SEC at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Stoops just last year passed Bear Bryant as the winningest coach in Kentucky history. Just last year did. It's like South Carolina honoring Steve Spurrier. Like the year after he retired, remember they had that giant banner off of their ramps to the upper deck. It was like a banner that hung the entire height of Williams-Brice of Steve Spurrier. And then like as soon as Florida offered him a job, he's like, yeah, I'm going to go down there.
Well, home is home, man.
Arkansas honoring Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
It'd be weird. It's like, yeah, I mean, we know you were there, but it's not really what, But none of those guys won a natty at their place. Nick won a natty here. A little different.
I think Kentucky should honor Bear Bryant. I think they should go all out in doing it. Like, make it just totally obnoxious.
Name the stadium.
Dude, it'd be so good.
Coach Paul W. Bear Bryant Stadium. We had him first.
Kentucky
we had him first.
Kentucky legend.
That would be like Michigan State honoring Nick Saban. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Hey, if you need dinner plans tonight, what about Supper Club? Man, if you haven't experienced Supper Club yet, get on by, book your reservations. It's a Friday night. You might be thinking, Matt, I don't have a reservation. Don't worry, I got you covered. Call over to Supper Club. Sometimes they have cancellations. Sometimes they have early seating tables available. And remember, it's always open seating at the bar. So walk into Supper Club. You can grab a bar stool. Sometimes they have tables in the bar area as well where you can grab a seat if you get lucky. But there's never a bad way to enjoy Supper Club. In a booth, the private dining room, at the bar, you're always going to get the fun vibes, all the elegance coupled with the really cool, trendy, fun vibes, and an unmatched dining experience. Y'all, I kept thinking every night we're in Dallas, went to dinner somewhere else, and I kept thinking every time I went somewhere in Dallas, I'm like, this place got nothing on Supper Club. Get your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Again, one more time, supperclubbtr.com. Okay, hey, hit the little around the SEC thing there. You should do that.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
All right, so the all SEC teams, as voted on by the media, were announced today. I would just like not only the all SEC teams, but also the projected order of finish in the Southeastern Conference, just maybe is a little more interesting. So there were 8 LSU Tigers who were named preseason all SEC. Will Campbell, Harold Perkins, Xavion Thomas named to the first team. Xavion Thomas as an all-purpose player. Tyron Lacey, Mason Taylor, Emory Jones, second team. And then along with Major Burns, Xavion Thomas as a return specialist. And then Slade Roy as a third teamer. So those are the LSU players that made preseason all conferences voted on by the media. One thing that I would kind of like to point out, and I know a lot of people melt over this stuff sometimes. There were roughly 1,000 credentialed media members at Media Days. And only a little over 200 voted, meaning roughly 20%. 1 out of 5 actually took the time to cast a ballot. 2 of them picked Vanderbilt to win the conference, which shows you how seriously some that even fill out a ballot actually take it. I know a lot of us know our team very well, but understand that media in the conference that covers one team doesn't know your team as well as you do. For example, I primarily cover LSU. I don't know everything about South Carolina's team this year. Not as much as a South Carolina player would or fan would. So you're always going to get a bump for players that attend media days, like Alex Huntley, who was a defensive lineman from South Carolina. We all saw him. We got to talk to him. Nice guy. He's a giant, too. Anyway, you're going to sort of give an ode to that guy because you're familiar with the name. So sometimes it goes that way. But here's how it worked for the projected order of finish. Thank you. You can kill the music, Muse. Georgia and Texas were runaway favorites at the top of the SEC and are projected to meet in the SEC championship game. So, Georgia, Texas, Alabama was picked third, followed by Ole Miss, LSU 5th, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma was 8th. So that's your first half. Georgia, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma. That's your top 8. Second half of the league, Texas A&M 9th, Auburn 10th, Kentucky, Florida. That's your top 12. And then the bottom 4, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. I'll tell you this. When you look at that, if you look at 12 through 16, Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vandy, LSU plays 4 of those 5. Half of LSU's league games this year are teams projected in the bottom 5 of this league. You avoid Georgia, you avoid Texas, you do play Alabama, Ole Miss, you avoid Missouri, Tennessee, you've got Oklahoma and Texas A&M. So LSU's schedule does actually shape up pretty nicely this year when you look at that. I'll share with you my projected order of finish. Again, not that my projected order of finish means anything more than anyone else's. I'm just sharing this with you for the sake of transparency. I did fill out a ballot, and I'll just tell you how I voted. My projected order of finish, I went Georgia 1, Texas 2, Ole Miss 3, and then I went Missouri 4. Look at their schedule. I did have LSU 5, followed by Tennessee and Alabama. I have Alabama 7th. And before you roll your eyes, consider this. Bama plays at LSU and Tennessee. I think they lose both of those road conference games, and I think Alabama loses to Texas. So I think Bama is at minimum a 3-loss team this year. And so the fact that, and they get Georgia as well. So you could see Bama actually lose 4 games this year, and I wouldn't be shocked. But I think head-to-head with LSU and Tennessee is why I have Alabama lower than LSU and Tennessee. Texas A&M, I put 8th, followed by Auburn and Oklahoma. I have Florida 11, Kentucky 12, and the reason I don't have those inverted is that they play in Gainesville this year, so I picked Florida effectively to beat Kentucky and potentially be ahead of them because of a tiebreaker. Then I have South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt. That's my projected order finish. I'm not saying my opinion is any greater than yours or more valid than yours or anybody else's. I had a vote. I filled it out. I'm sharing with you what I did. You can laugh at me at the end of the season when I'm dead wrong. But again, I went Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas A&M, Auburn, Oklahoma, Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. And I know every year I always get Mississippi State people mad at me because they're like, everyone always projects us way too low and we always outperform our projections. I get that. And I'm aware of that when I vote as well. But I also look at Mississippi State and it's 3 head coaches in 3 years. You're completely changing a system again. So 3 years, 3 different offensive systems, new quarterback coming in, new head coach coming in. I think there's a lot of challenges. And oh, by the way, have you looked at Mississippi State's schedule? So I don't know why I'm speaking specifically to Mississippi State people. But like just very quickly, just listen to State's conference schedule. Florida, at Texas, at Georgia, A&M, Arkansas, at Tennessee, Missouri, Ole Miss, at Ole Miss. So they're at Texas, at Georgia, at Tennessee, at Ole Miss. And then their home games are Florida, A&M, Arkansas, and Missouri. Like, good luck. I just don't think it's going to go great for you year one, Jeff Levy. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. We'll do Tigers and the Pros, Terry O, in 12 minutes. Don't you move.
AFR.
Man, when it's 100 degrees outside, you're spending those summer weekends outside in your outdoor area, wouldn't it be amazing after cutting the grass or when you have family over, instead of sitting outside and just baking in that heat, to jump into your new custom pool, your backyard paradise? Well, Derek Duplessis over at Duplessis Builders makes that happen for people every single day. Love telling you about his background. Mechanical engineer from LSU, minor in aerospace engineering, worked as an engineer for years, decided to pivot, started building pools. Now he's the fastest growing pool builder in our market. And one of the reasons is because he builds a premium product and will not cut costs. I'm telling you, have one conversation with Derek Duplessis, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. They don't rush the process. They're very upfront about everything. They would rather pass on work than give you a substandard product. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. Check them out, DuplessisBuilders.net.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even